Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to RPtv. Today is Monday, November 4th, 2019. We have a special broadcast this morning, so let's get started with the announcements. Creative Writing Club will meet right after school in room 107. Club dates are November 12th, 26th, and December 3rd. December 17th will be our holiday party. New members are always welcome. Tabletop Games Club will meet in the library after school on Wednesdays. Come check out a wide variety of board and card games. See Miss Amoroso or Miss Lemke for details. Art Club and National Art Honor Society will be meeting Fridays after school in room 102 during the school year. We are working on projects and sometimes exploring new media. Join us. There are several necklaces and rings in the main office. If you lost something, stop by the main office. If you are interested in purchasing a yearbook for $90, contact Mr. Fucci. There is a limited number of yearbooks available. Thanksgiving food drive. There will be a non-perishable and canned food drive to collect food for the RPHS student pantry. You can drop donations off in the main office, nurse's office, and room 10. See Ms. Arango with any questions. Collections for this drive will run until November 26th. Good luck to the girls volleyball team as they head into the state tournament today.
As of right now, it's around 52 degrees, a little chilly, but the sun is giving some warmth. There is only a wind speed of 7 miles per hour, nothing serious, and a humidity of 50%. As for the week, we can see the temperature dropping since last week, showing highs in the 50s and 40s, mostly instead of the 60s. We might actually feel winter somewhat. Tuesday will have 40% chance of rain with a high of 62 and a low of 49 degrees. Make sure to bring your umbrellas if you're walking. Wednesday is sunny and a little colder than Tuesday, but with a high of 56 degrees and a low of 43 degrees. Thursday and Friday are both partly cloudy with a high of 51 degrees and a 45 degrees. The low is 38 degrees for Thursdays and 36 degrees for Friday. The weekend gets even colder than the rest of the week with a high of 44 degrees and a low of 36 degrees. As we slowly get into November, temperatures are starting to drop more and more each week.
This morning, we are proud to present a new feature of our morning news program. Can you smell what Mr. Rock is cooking? It was developed and produced by Albina Nikovic and Belen Valencia Vasquez, and of course, Mr. Rock, our celebrity chef.
Well, good morning. Welcome to our kitchen. And when I say our kitchen, I mean Miss Ruby's kitchen. This morning, we're going to make quiche. Quiche is a very simple dish you can have for breakfast, you can make for lunch. It's a brunch item. Easy, simple ingredients that you can find at any local store, Walmart, Quick Check, Wawa. We have pie crust. Any pie crust will do. Bacon for a little flavor. Any bacon that you like. They have all different kind of flavors you can use. You can use any cheese you like. I'm using sharp cheddar. Very flavorful. Gives a nice added creamy texture to the quiche. And then today we're going to make a broccoli quiche. You're going to use onion for flavor, and then we have a fresh piece of broccoli. All of these ingredients can pretty much be found at a local store. So our pie crust is done, we're good there. We're going to open up the bacon first. First thing we do with the bacon is we do have to start cooking. So we're going to take just a few pieces of bacon. I would say no more than 3 or 4 pieces. I'm going to start with 3. I'm going to put them right into the pan. Let the pan cook off, or the bacon cook off. This is going to take maybe about 5-10 minutes. You want to do it on a medium to high heat. Let that go. All right. While that's cooking, you can start your broccoli and your onion. So, cut an onion. We have one fresh onion. Cut the bottom off. Cut the top off. We start on the side. Cut the side of the onion and peel the outer layer off. Okay. That takes the outer layer and the shell of the onion off. You have a nice raw onion. This part you can discard. It's going to go right into the garbage. I cut an onion the right way. I'm going to cut it in half. And then we cut lengthwise on the onion. Make small slices. Do not cut all the way through. You can do that a couple times. Do one more. And then we cut down through the onion. There. One more. So we have our onion cut. Now we are going to cut it into little dices. So again, we're going to cut down through the onion and lengthwise. And we have little cubes of onion, as you can see here. Okay, so we have our onion set. For a quiche, you really only need one onion, or one half of an onion. You don't need the whole thing. So we're just going to use that one. All right. Now for our broccoli. We have a small piece of broccoli. You're not going to need anything more than this. I don't even think we're going to use the whole thing, but we'll see as we go along. We just want to rinse it, run it under cold water. So we'll put it under cold water. Knock off some of the water, and we can bring it back to our cutting tray. And we are just going to cut off the broccoli flowers. The rest of it we can discard. We're only going to use the flowers for our quiche. This is going to go right into a pot of boiling water, so we'll drop that in the water. You can see it's in the boiling water. Once that is done, we will take that out and chop it up.
Cut the cooked bacon. Do not wash the grease. It is needed for flavor. Put bacon on pie crust. Put onions in grease pan. Chop broccoli a second time. Crack 5 to 6 if you want to. Eggs in the pan.
Last one. Oop, wrong place. Not even paying attention. You're gonna make me laugh over there. So one more. Put it here. We take our eggs, shells, set them aside. They're eventually gonna go right in the garbage. Okay. Fork. With the fork, just start mixing up your eggs. As you can see, it's going to look like this. The trick to eggs, and you can do this with just about any eggs, is to add a little bit of milk. When you add milk to your eggs, it makes them just a little bit more fluffy and helps them to cook evenly. So our egg mixture is ready to go. We have eggs, we have our milk. Next thing to go in will be our broccoli. So we add our broccoli directly into the eggs. Okay, broccoli's in. No longer need the cutting board. Stir that in. Easy as that. Next thing is your cheese. Now, there's no set amount of cheese. I don't use recipes, I don't use mixtures. I just go based on what you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about a handful out. Okay, so you got about a handful of cheese. Mix it in. Stir it up. Okay. Use a spatula. Or get your spatula ready because our onions are ready. So the onions, as you can see, have been sauteed in the fat, and all we're going to do is add this directly to our pie crust. All right. We're done with that pan. We can set it aside. Now we have our onions mixed in with our bacon. Take the egg mixture, add it to it. Just pour it right over the top. All right. Once you've done that, you just got to stir it up a little bit. Make sure it's evenly, all the egg and the broccoli and bacon are all evenly throughout your pie crust. Your quiche is ready to go in the oven. So, recommended to get a cookie tray and put your quiche crust right on the cookie tray when you're putting it in the oven. I have our oven set to 375. We'll put it in there. It's in the oven. It's going to be in the oven for anywhere from 45 to 55 minutes. It all depends on your oven.
45 minutes later.
We are ready to take our quiche out of the oven. Here is the finished product, so you can see. Now, the best part of making anything is when we eat it. So I'm going to bring in my special guest, the expert taste tester, to help me enjoy this.
Hello. I've been standing behind the fridge this whole time. Looks very green.
That would be the broccoli.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know.
She's a sharp one.
Oh, so while he's playing that, as you can see, we got vacuum plates. So, that's fun. How are you going to do it with the spatula?
I think I'm going to do it with the knife.
Okay, do you want me to hold the plate?
Sure, if you want to bring the plate over. There's one. We'll give you the bigger piece.
Yay.
And there's two. All right, I have forks all set up for us. So you go ahead and dig into your piece and tell me what you think.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot.
I think you came out pretty good. So here you go. You can see. Got your egg, got the pieces of bacon and your broccoli all in there.
Very hot.
But it's good.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
All right. Thank you for joining us. And there you have your quiche.
Well.
Thank you for watching RPtv. Have a great day and stay tuned for CNN 10.
Welcome to CNN 10, your source for down-the-middle explanations of news events. I'm Carl Azus at the CNN Center. Hope you had a great weekend. We're getting started with a look at a recent vote in the U.S. House of Representatives concerning President Donald Trump and the issue of impeachment. Late last week, the House voted 232 to 196 to formalize its impeachment inquiry of the president. This was not a vote to impeach President Trump or to formally put him on trial. This was a vote to make an investigation official to establish the rules for how it'll be carried out. And according to Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, it was a vote to help lawmakers decide whether to eventually impeach the president. It went mostly along party lines. Democrats control the House of Representatives. They hold the majority of seats there. And all but 2 of them voted to move forward with the investigation. The remaining 2 Democrats joined all House Republicans in voting against having a formal investigation. This is happening because of a controversial phone call that President Trump had in late July with the president of Ukraine. We explained that call in our September 26th show, and you can find it in our archives at CNN10.com. Speaker Pelosi says House Democrats have no choice but to investigate President Trump because they, quote, took an oath to protect and defend our democracy, and that is what he has made an assault on. The president says he's done nothing wrong, and House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy said last week's vote shows there's only bipartisan opposition to the inquiry, not in favor of it.
Well, what's next for the impeachment process? The Democrats who run the House of Representatives may decide, there's just not enough here for the House Judiciary Committee to vote articles of impeachment, and they'll just close the investigation. Another possibility is that the House Judiciary Committee does vote articles of impeachment, and then the full House will have to vote on whether Donald Trump will be impeached. Now, if there is a majority in support of impeachment, Donald Trump doesn't lose his office. That's like a formal charge. It's like an indictment. So if Donald Trump is indicted the way Bill Clinton was impeached, then the case will go to the United States Senate. There has to be a trial presided over by John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the United States. And after that trial, the Senate will have to vote on whether to convict Donald Trump. It takes 2/3, 67 votes in the Senate, to remove a president from office. I think most people believe at the end of the day, there is almost no chance that Donald Trump will be convicted in the Senate. So the question that is on everyone's minds is, what will the effect of this whole impeachment process be on the 2020 election?
10-second trivia. Which of these U.S. government agencies is the oldest? U.S. Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics, Department of Transportation, or Food and Drug Administration? The Bureau of Labor was established in 1884, making it the oldest agency on this list. The Bureau of Labor Statistics releases its Employment Situation Summary on the first Friday of every month. It's also called the Jobs Report, which is easier to say, and it gives a snapshot of how the U.S. economy did the month before. So the latest report says in October, American employers added 128,000 jobs. That was better than what economists expected. They predicted an 89,000 job gain. And part of the reason for that was the recent strike at General Motors. It officially ended late in October, but it had taken 46,000 auto employees out of the workforce. And economists had thought it was going to be a bigger drag on the jobs market than it ended up being. The unemployment rate, which is a percentage of American workers who want but don't have a job, increased to 3.6%. It was 3.5% the month before. But analysts say there's a silver lining to that because it showed more Americans were looking for work. One area of concern was in manufacturing. The October jobs report says there were 36,000 jobs lost in that sector, and the BLS commissioner says that was impacted by the auto workers' strike. But this doesn't necessarily signal that a recession is on the way.
It's the dreaded R word, recession. Now, technically, recession is defined as 2 straight quarters of negative economic growth. But ironically, the National Bureau of Economic Research, which officially dates US recessions, doesn't quite agree. It defines recession as a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months. The NBR doesn't just look at GDP, but other factors too, like income, employment, and industrial production. But notice how it says spread across the economy. That's important. Why? Because recessions can happen in one sector but without dragging the whole economy down. We saw that in 2015 and 2016, for example, too. That was when manufacturing fell into recession, but the rest of the US economy did not. The big question today is, will history repeat itself? And why we're asking that question is because US manufacturing is once again back in technical recession. But here's the key. Although manufacturing isn't doing well, it's only a small share of the US economy. We're talking 11%. The modern American economy is driven by other things like consumers and services, and that represents around 70% of economic activity. The danger, though, is that weakness in manufacturing could then spill over into that bigger driver of the economy. And that's the thing about recessions. They do have a tendency to be self-fulfilling. If Americans start worrying about the economy and hearing about layoffs, for example, at factories, they may decide to spend a bit less. Perhaps they delay bigger purchases. And that's when a fear of an economic downturn can actually bring on a real one and bring the dreaded R word firmly back into play.
Most of America has fallen back to standard time. That's what we call it when we're not on daylight saving time. But when you think about the fact that we spend most of the year on daylight saving time, standard is hardly the standard. Still, our current standard was set on Sunday morning. It'll last until March 8th. And despite what my colleague Jennifer Gray is about to tell you, you only get the extra hour of sleep if you go to bed on time the night of the switch. Those who stay up an hour later on Saturday may still seem sleepy on Sunday.
So why don't we change the clocks ahead 1 hour in the spring and back 1 hour in the fall? Well, it's actually to reduce the electricity consumption by extending the daylight hours. In the U.S., we change our clocks at 2 a.m. on the second Sunday in March. That begins daylight saving time. That's when we spring ahead. On the first Sunday in November, we change our clocks at 2 a.m. again. That's actually just going back to standard time. Believe it or not, this started with an idea from Benjamin Franklin. Franklin did write an essay suggesting that people could use less candles if they got up early and made better use of daylight. In 1918, the Standard Time Act established time zones and daylight saving time, but not all states participate. To this day, most of Arizona and all of Hawaii do not change their clocks. Over 70 countries across the world observe daylight saving time, with notable exceptions of China and Japan. In 2007, we actually changed the date of when we set our clocks back an hour to the first week in November. This helped protect trick-or-treaters by giving them an extra hour of daylight. One of the other lines of thinking was that we would have a better voter turnout on election years. Experts say each time you change your clocks, it's always a good idea to change those batteries in your smoke detector, and always look forward to fall when you get that extra hour of sleep.
Mom didn't have to tell me not to play baseball inside because, well, smash. That's the very same reason why this seems like it might not be the best idea. But it's not like you could just step outside to play on the International Space Station, and the ball travels farther in microgravity. So if astronauts Jessica Meir, Christina Cook, and Andrew Morgan can't attend the World Series, maybe they can just very carefully see how this plays out. Of course, if they're all Astros fans, the real thing wouldn't have been a washing ton of fun for them. But who needs baseball when you've got spaceball? Who needs to knock one out of the park when you're already out of the atmosphere? Without gravity, there are no infield flies, no sinkers, no grounders, yet every game is an out-of-this-world series. I'm Carl Azus for CNN.